Oh, welcome. There's my intro. This is Poe App Curation Community Call number 9. Today is March 9th, 2022. I am joined by some really exciting people here. I have a couple co-hosts. That would be, I'm Superphiz. I come from the eStaker community. I'm also very closely aligned with Poe App. And I just do what I like to do. I'm joined by tap.eth.
What's up? Good evening, everyone, or morning, depending on where you are. It's great to be on. I run Poe
DeFi
Appathon
dude. Oh, sorry.
and
Yeah,
uh
you talk.
and now a game Cryptogs. Uh,
I wonder how much we should talk about Cryptogs. Maybe the whole time. Yeah. So yeah, Tap from Poapathon and Cryptog. Sorry that I spoke over you. DeFi dude, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm DeFi Dude, working on a side project or main project Alpha Day. I also love POAPs, so that's why I'm here. And yeah, just finishing my dinner up, so preoccupied with that a little bit.
So I have two very important questions. What are you having for dinner?
Corned beef and cabbage.
Okay.
It's a little early, but
Interesting.
I saw it,
I had
for
that for
St. Patrick's Day,
lunch.
and yeah,
I had that for
it was
lunch.
saw it at
That's
the
an
store, and
odd
it's been like
meal.
years and years. So I know.
It
It was
makes
just like I haven't had it in so many years, and I was like, okay, I gotta make it.
It's
it
that
makes me
time of
think of a
year.
Reuben.
Can't really say I'm a cabbage either.
And the
And my
second
second
question.
question, DeFi dude, when should we look for big alpha from Alpha Day?
Yeah, that I don't know. Things are cruising along. I don't have a set date, but
So you
probably like
days,
a
weeks,
couple
months?
months. Probably a
Okay,
couple
months.
months. Not a couple
That's fair.
years, not a couple days. Soon. Yeah.
Okay. So June 9th. Sounds great. Thank you. That was a joke.
All right.
um also hosting is Mr. Mojo.
Hey everyone. I'm also from the eStaker core team, and I'm a major POAP enthusiast, I guess you could say.
We're glad to have you. I are you okay being called the eStaker intern, or does that bug you?
No. I mean, pretty much everybody else on the team was like, "You're not just an intern, man. You're part of the core team." You're like the only one that really calls me the intern at this point.
Okay, well then I'll undo it. So the only reason I do it is because it's not a slight. I want to draw attention to the idea that we are working toward helping you find full-time employment in crypto, and I feel like the easiest way to do that is to identify you as an intern. But we can probably find better ways to do that if it whatever.
I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't bother me.
Padawan
Okay.
learner.
Yes.
Padawan learner. So
Young
we do
Padawan.
have someone who just got full-time employment with crypto. Hello, Logic Beach.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, thanks for having me. I just started a really sweet position with Grid Plus. I like to call myself well, I think the technical term is support technician, but what I actually do is I aid people in becoming self-sovereign crypto sapiens. Uh,
Ooh.
so yeah, I'm supporting the Lattice One wallet. It's a hardware wallet. It's actually really amazing. And I will say this about it, shameless plug for the product I now work with. All of my wallets that were hot wallets on MetaMask, I now ported them over to this device, and it's seamless. I love it.
That's awesome. I'm really glad.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we're all supporters of Lattice One Grid Plus here. Well, we all. I can speak for myself. I'm a big supporter of Lattice One Grid Plus. So I'm glad you're employed with him. And wow, whoa, you want to introduce yourself? Okay. Maybe he's having audio difficulty. We also have Kevster and Frankie, who are POAP curators, and they're kind of a bridge between the community call and POAP. So if we have questions about curation or questions about how maybe something is working at POAP, they are a great resource. But generally, they just sort of hang out and are available if we need them. Is that a fair description, guys?
Yep, very fair. Hi all.
Awesome. So let's get started. So like we've been running. 6 minutes isn't too bad. I was gonna say we've been introducing for like 45 minutes now. Maybe not. So I'm really excited to get started this week. We have some great stuff going on. One of the things that I want to make sure somebody posts in the I'm trying to decide now. There was some question about whether the newsletter was public or internal. But last week Isabel did post it publicly, so I intend to take that and run with it. There is the poap-weekly.ghost.io newsletter that kind of tells about the internal goings on at POAP. It is really an internal newsletter, but it's very helpful for people who just kind of want to know what's going on with Poe App.
I have the link if you want me to post it. I don't know if I should or not.
Yeah, unless someone says no, go ahead and post that in community calls.
I'm gonna hold off for like just a moment on that.
Well, here's the thing: it's on a publicly hosted site. So if they did not want people to view it, then they could easily put a barrier on that.
Sure.
So the
here you
fact
go,
that
everyone.
it's
If you
a
feel like
public
reading
site
it.
means I found it very interesting.
Yes, I know. It's a great read, and it's going to be once a week too. It's great.
Yeah. A couple things we were going to go over today. Does anybody want to get started, or shall I lead it? So POAP has now a native integration with gm.xyz. And does anyone use gm.xyz?
Never heard of it.
Oh, okay. It's a Reddit clone based on Web3 authentication. And so I actually have spent some time there. It's been a while since I've been there. But imagine Reddit that is decentralized and Web3 based. So you log in with your wallet, you're identified by your ENS. And they now have added native support for POAP. That's at gm.xyz. This platform has been around for a few months, and I do think it's going to continue to develop. We have an ETH staker platform there. ETH Finance is there. There's a airdrops community there. So this is one of those like get in on a community early and potentially collect rewards later on. I don't know, like I don't want to sell it based on rewards. I think you should try it just for the community engagement. But there's likely to be, POAPs for participating and maybe even some other bonuses. I like to get an early account. Like I have a November 2021 account there, and it's kind of neat to be like, an early adopter.
Yeah, be like, oh, I was one of the first accounts that was made on here. I'm number whatever, right? But so Superphiz, I haven't really looked at this too much. So you said it's basically like, I see that Logic Beach has said it's an interesting mix of Reddit and Twitter with Web3 login. So basically, is that a place that I could go and like easily find news about all the stuff happening in Web3? So basically, it's like Reddit but super refined for Web3.
It all depends on what people post. So it does have greater potential for Web3 news, but that also requires that people post that news. And so it what do they call that effect? It's not the snowball effect or the cascade, but like something that gets the network effect. That's what it is. The more people that are there posting content means the more value you'll find there. And so it's one of those, if you wanted to participate, you should seek to give more than you take away. So rather than going to look for that news, you might go there to share that news. And then with the assumption that other people will do the same.
Awesome.
So gm.xyz, that reminds me of a similar community. I think it's public. Let me see who's Logic Beach. You're in this community with me. Is it public? The Discord place we've been using. NFT
Nifty chat.
Like the web. Yeah.
Nifty
I
chat.
think
Yeah.
I have no idea. I was added to it and said a few things. It seemed cool. I don't know much about
Okay.
it. Sorry.
Yeah,
Cool.
I was poking
Yeah, so
around there a
on-
little bit when I got access.
On the same vein as gm.xyz is, so gm.xyz being a Reddit style Web3 clone, nftychat.xyz is a Discord style Web3 clone, and I absolutely love it. Like, I think this is going to be one of my future homes. I don't think I'm pretty confident about it. One of the neatest things about it is they have a default GM board button, so you can go every day and say GM to the community, and you kind of get increasing points as you GM the community, which, as we all know, is an important thing to do every day.
That's right.
So, and they also have token gated communities and
What's it called
Poe
again?
App gated communities. So it's really cool to, like, let's say that you want to invite everyone who has Poe App community call number 9 Poe App, then you can, if the functionality isn't there now, it's being developed. So that you actually do have an add community button now. So very exciting.
I'm actually not sure if the project is public yet.
Did I overshare?
I think like the name of the project itself is public, but I'm not sure if the link is public. At least when I spoke to the guy, he asked me to not share the link, but that was 2 months ago, so maybe by now it changed.
I thought that I found the link from Twitter, and that's why I felt comfortable sharing it. But obviously, like, sometimes it can be hard to remember how you found something. So my apologies, Slobo, if it's not meant to be public. But
I mean, if it's
it
on
is
Twitter,
very
it's
well
public.
developed. And again, that's just my recollection. I always try to honor the creator in sharing at with their discretion. But yeah.
Was that link again, or are we? Was the decision?
Now
not
I'm
to
afraid
share?
to say it again. It's I'll say it again just because I've already said it out loud. I have to go find it. Scrolling.
It's called niftychat.xyz. And I also just realized how we both found it, but I'm not going to share it.
Hey, and Coltron did mention that they might, like, he's trying to ping them, so maybe they'll come on later. The founder of it, so we'll see.
Great. Yeah, I'm getting some side eye in there now. Anyway, it's an awesome resource. We'll see where it goes, but I do love it. Looking at gm.xyz made me think of this, and for me to wake up in the morning and look forward to going to a community gets kind of rare. I look forward to going to Rocketpool Trading, and I look forward to going to ETH Finance and Twitter. But I also have lately begun looking forward to coming to this place. So
they have it where the communities are token gated.
Yeah, that's yes, I do know that because I am in a community that is token gated by a Poe App.
Very nice.
I may be over speaking. Do you know that thing where you kind of know a little bit about something, but you're not really deep in the weeds, and so you just kind of go with it? That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Another thing.
I was gonna say literally me every day.
I'm gonna let someone. Yeah, I'll let someone else lead this because I haven't looked at it. I'm not sure if anyone else has. WeLook.io. Has anybody checked that out?
Yeah, I've actually checked it out. So basically, it's this website that you can go to, and you can basically look up a whole bunch of things about an address. So you can see some of their NFTs, you can see their POAPs, you can see some of the basic what is it? It's like a ERC token, ERC20 token. So like you can see like what ETH they have and stuff. It's kind of cool. It's basically like aggregator of all the things that are in that address, and it's really cool. And it's really neat to be able to do what? Sorry.
Do we have a name for this type of site? Is that like a social wallet, or what would you call that? Reputation system or social graph?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. It's kind of like what's that one called? It's like a proof of humanity or whatever, where you kind of tie stuff to your own identity. This is more like tying things. Yeah. This is kind of like, well. Then I guess I'm getting this way wrong. See how we were just talking about stuff you really don't understand too much. Anyway,
dude, you're okay. You're okay to be wrong.
Anyway, it's basically one of these things where you're able just to look at the stuff that's on people's addresses. It's kind of cool. It's really neat for looking at Poe App. You can look at them fast. Yeah.
I just logged in with my Superphiz.eth, and I love the login view. It's pretty awesome. Very cool.
Hey, one thing to add on this, like, I think it's interesting, like, even the wallets are separating NFTs and POAPs, which, like, for everyone here, like, a POAP is an NFT. But I think it's really cool to see that difference in display of, like, there's a significant difference, right, of proof of attendance protocol versus the other lumped group of NFTs, which is sweet. So you can kind of look at that historical standpoint of the things you've done, opposed to maybe the things you've collected.
Yeah, they set themselves aside as their own category. Nice.
That really is interesting because obviously POAPs are technically NFTs, but I know like it's difficult. Like you can't be only POAP and not NFT, or one of it. Like you can't be outside of the set and inside the set at the same time. Hey, Slobo is here. I'm probably in trouble. Hey, Alex.
Hi, everybody.
I'm glad you made it.
I had
Superphiz awkward. Like, did I tell everyone stuff I shouldn't?
Was I awkward enough? I was trying to be awkward.
Well, I have spies everywhere, and Coltron, he's just like, hey, they're talking about Nifty Chat, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're saying. So, hi, everybody. I'm Slobo.eth.
So glad to have you here. Hey, what the big question was, I thought that I found this from Twitter, and I wasn't sure how public it was, and so I didn't know if it was okay to share the domain.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of tried to keep it secret, but then I actually was like bot attacked in the last couple things. We're like 3 weeks away from officially launching. Like I'm fine with people like trying it out as long as they're very like nice, because there's definitely a couple of bugs. So I'm not currently like shilling it, but I don't really hide it either, if that makes sense. It's like I know there's 600 people listening, but you know, if people want to check out niftychat.xyz, I'm fine with that. We're like pre-launch, pre-beta. But yeah, we're trying to take down Discord.
Yeah, it's an incredible product, and actually, I was describing gm.xyz, and I couldn't end the conversation without also bringing up nifty chat. So I'm obviously a huge fan of what you're developing.
Thank you for the space, and I'm happy to answer any questions from anyone. And either here or on Nifty Chat, feel free to message like us. And I'm very excited, and we're gonna officially launch in 3 weeks. But I guess I just unofficially launched us.
Yeah, you may also want to open up a Chinese speaking channel, or one of the things that we run into with Discord is the need for a live translation. I don't because a lot of our audience is Chinese speaking primarily, so I think you'll see that when I look at the alphabets.
Yeah, that's something I wish Discord had, is you know, like in their like 3 little dot comment menu. I wish you could tap on that and select translate for any foreign speakers.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something I'm focused on. That's one of the reasons where I let people select their language. I do have some like features in mind to really help with that, because I do think that bifurcating the community based on language is not likely to be the best way to go about it. But I'll just hint at that we are thinking about it very aggressively, and probably like 45 days away from a attempt at a good solution there as well.
That is great. I love to hear you say that you don't want to bifurcate the community, because that is the thing that happens naturally. Because it's difficult to have a continuous conversation. I can't wait until you select the language that you understand, and that without even having to translate, that it is just filled in. So it needs to leave the original author's text, but also a subtext box that translates automatically. And whether or not you're doing that, I do believe it is something that needs to happen on the web.
Yeah, I think once we let, it's sort of like, I think it's important for the platforms to be smart but not too smart, if you will. And I think sometimes, I'm okay with users doing work, right? Like selecting, hey, I speak English, I speak Spanish, I speak X, Y, and Z language, and then building features around that. I haven't seen technology do that as much as they should, because they either go all automated and it's like, hey, are you speaking Spanish, and they translate it, but then it's like a shitty translation. But anyways, I don't want to take up too much of this community call. I really appreciate you guys talking about it, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Yeah. I'm sure, there are now a few more users there. But I'm obsessed with it. So, thank you for not being upset with me for talking about it. That's the Superphiz rule, is I talk about what I like. Sometimes I shouldn't.
Hey, I think I'm never going to be angry at someone talking about a product, and it's on me for letting people access it. So thank you, and I appreciate your support and anyone who checks it out.
Yeah, it's going to be huge. I guarantee this. I don't know if I can guarantee that, but I believe that.
You and I are perfectly aligned there.
Good. So moving on a little bit, does anyone here know about Mentor's or actually Mentor on Twitter, his Poe App?
It sounded really
Exciting.
cool, but not for me, I guess.
So actually Mentor is someone who was recently acquired. He was recently hired by Poe App. But if you know him from, he's actually a Rocket Pool community member as well. He is an extremely talented and just a good guy. And so his way of supporting free speech during this worldwide conflict is to reward people for setting up Tor exit nodes, and he's rewarding them with a Poe App. And obviously it can be a little overwhelming to set up a Tor exit node, but if you go to actually Mentor's Twitter, you'll find a tweet about it. And really setting it up is setting up like a digital ocean droplet, which is, about 4 clicks. And then you clone his repository and run it. And it does absolutely everything else for you. The last time I set up anything with Tor, it took me like a half a day. But setting up this Tor exit node was literally running the script and entering my ENS address for the Poe App and letting it run. So
yes, now that you mention it, I do remember this.
Yeah, did you do it?
Well, I don't think I'm going to, mostly because I'm uncomfortable doing something like that, but I do think it is great that you decided to do that for people over there.
Yeah, I love that you say that you're uncomfortable doing it, because honestly, I am too. Like, there are a lot of scare tactics around Tor, like governments who say, it's people do horrible things on it. But I feel like during times of world censorship, that the benefit that it brings significantly outweighs the risk. And at least that's me. That's me speaking. You have to make your own choices. But I feel.
Go ahead. I was just to say that the CIA developed Tor, I believe, in the very beginning. So I want to do this. I don't think I'm scared. And you mentioned that it can be done with a VPS. I don't exactly know what that is, but it sounds like I can run it virtually somewhere else, not at my physical IP location.
Yeah, just go to digitalocean.com and you'll need to spend maybe like $50, I guess, for a month of traffic. So you'll need to like fund your account because it's not free. But then you just download his Git repo. As a matter of fact, on the DigitalOcean dashboard, there's a place where you can click to open a console directly in your browser, and you can run all the commands from there. And then it's like the very last message is copy and paste this tweet to actually mentor. Let it run for a month, and then you've done what may be considered a community service. I consider it a community service. And you'll also earn a POAP for the effort.
Yeah, I want to try this. I mean, the Poe App, like you said before, makes me want to be more who I am, and I definitely support free speech and sort of being able to subvert tyrannical governments. So yeah, I am on board with this.
Make sure it's 30 days straight. That's the prerequisite for your Poe App, sir.
Yeah, I'll just set it and forget it, basically. Most likely.
Fizz set his for 40 days, right?
I did, because what I didn't want to happen is that I would forget about it and then later get a bill from DigitalOcean saying, you owe us X amount of dollars for your account, because I don't want to be in debt. And so I used a sudo shutdown -h plus 57,600, which is shut it down in 40 days. And ideally, if I go back and I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that, I can cancel the shutdown and reevaluate. It was so easy. I'm committed to running it longer. But I also tend to forget about things, and I just don't want to forget that it's running and let it go forever.
Wait, so how much does it cost per month to run?
You said it was 50, right?
I deposited $50. I don't really know the specific cost. I'm sort of like drop some cash in there and then worry about it later. I didn't really like count it out.
Mood.
In other words, I'm sloppy.
Hey, y'all are getting
man.
in the weeds today.
Nah, man. You really wanted to get it out there, and I mean, honestly, I don't think that's a bad idea. I mean, really, if you're just like, look, I just want to get this up and running. I have to fund this thing. I'll throw some money on there and I'll get it up and running and worry about it later. It's totally understandable, man.
Yeah, that's so I had a DigitalOcean account anyway, so I don't mind having some, a couple dollars on it.
Yes.
It's again, I'm not really comfortable at going on Twitter and saying, while I do support, it's even awkward for me now. I don't like war. I don't like to talk about war. I don't like to think about it. I don't want it in the front of my mind. But if I can do something privately that allows people to maybe have communication where they wouldn't before, then that's an action I'm able to take comfortably.
Commendable, man. Really. I mean that unironically. But oh, okay. I actually do want to take a look at the Slido really quick. And I have a question for you, Tap, because this one is aimed towards you. So this is from Anonymous. It says, are crypto pogs NFTs going to play a role in Poe App?
Sorry. I mean, a little bit of background behind the pogs and cryptogs is at POAPthon we did design contests, and I was like, let's make a physical game that is super cool, where inside the pack you'll get a Poe App, and that was pretty much it. And I breaking into this down a little bit, but it keeps on developing pretty extensively, where it's like the utility of Poe Apps is pretty incredible, and POAPthon keeps on like spinning, sometimes unintentionally, just trying new things, and so Yeah, the reason why we originally settled on Pogs was number one, kind of bringing back people's youth, right? Experiences and then new experiences for people in real life, which ties to POAPs really, really well. If you haven't collected them in real life yet or shared them with friends, like highly suggest you try and do that. It's a really fun experience. It can be an awkward experience too when it's someone's first POAP and they're like, "What is this thing? What are you trying to get me to do?" Um, but it's really fun. So we did have a mint cryptogs.xyz that you can get. We call them togs now, but pogs. The game will be released soon, but then like we're looking at dropping, just so everyone knows, like if you're interested in sponsoring or being a part of our next pog drop or tog drop, we're planning on doing nft.nyc, where we will likely commission, based on community support, a new series of pogs. And the primary way to get them is to be at nft.nyc. We will have secondary ways, like for instance, if you had a POAP from POAP Community Call 5, I think, you can currently mint a pack of Cryptogs. So we arbitrarily picked some POAPs that we thought would be nice to give back to the community as well that didn't make it to Eat Denver, as well. So like that's kind of like our play and how that kind of talks to POAP, or how that relates to like POAP. If that's helpful. Is that a good answer?
I mean, yeah, it seems pretty good. Basically, you use POAPs as a way to help distribute minting for your project.
Well, yeah, and I think that's like a really interesting thing is everything we're doing is centered around giving things away for free, similar to the spirit of POAP, because that's how you can actually onboard people effectively. So now we've given people POGs, or Cryptogs, we call them, right? Togs.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually transacting, buying and selling them on OpenSea. Like someone just sold one for $200 or $300, and that person like didn't have much of any money in crypto and wasn't really involved. So it's really an interesting way where people are onboarding. These things are then getting value, and then they're choosing to hold, buy, or sell them. Although the intention for us was just to make a fun game, that is kind of the reality behind what's happening now, which is pretty fun and pretty cool to see. Like people, like if they choose, they can sell them, and there's some aspect of demand for them right now. Doesn't mean there will be forever, right? But that's pretty. I think that's pretty powerful to think like some of these packs we're giving to people in the Poapathon community that live across, all across the world. And so that can be meaningful from a like giving back and difference perspective.
Yeah, and I'm glad
You
that
really hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm really
Wait,
glad that you mentioned stuff like that. If I can get this in really quick, Fizz, I'm glad that you did mention something like that, because I know I spoke about it a little bit already in a different show, but my girlfriend's first NFT mint was the Cryptogs, and I told her, I was like, yeah, like these actually have value associated to them, and she looked and she was like, you mean like I just made like whatever $200, $300, and I was like, if you wanted to sell them, sure. And Superphiz actually equated this to like there are some people out there that they're just going to mint them and sell them, and they think that's a big win because they're going to walk away with a few $100, and then there's other people like him who are just going to buy them up because he just wants to own all of them. So it's a win for everybody.
Yeah, we didn't even realize like the collectible side of it is like there's 71 of them, and then we're like, oh, but who's going to collect the full collections? And now there's people literally giving away NFTs on our Discord.
Yeah.
So I started something called Pay It Forward, where it's like, well, you take a tog that you have a duplicate of it, and you send it to someone else, and then they take one of their duplicates and send it. So like, there's basically a community of all these people in our trading channel, that are openly giving NFTs that have a value of money that there's a market for. And so I think that's like just really powerful, from like a community perspective, that it's like people are genuinely more interested. And I think that's like that kind of ties back to the basis of a lot of what POAP is, right? Which is like giving someone a gift that they're going to appreciate more than you, that's gonna like create this memory. So yeah, I mean, POAP for me, inspiration wise, has always been like almost the perfect and ideal use case for DeFi and crypto because it's free, accessible to all people, and it essentially democratizes, um, uh, Web3 DeFi, whatever name you want to give it today, which is pretty cool. Like you can get someone to experience it for a first time.
Is it
So
is it possible for somebody to?
I'm dragging people
I'm sorry.
from from POAPs, right, in further into the ether, right? So we onboarded a ton of these people into Polygon now, and now they have value, and some of them are selling them, and then it's like, well, now that I sold this, what do I do with the money? And it's like, well, you can choose to do whatever you want, but here's all the other DeFi Legos you can go play with. What was the question?
Sorry.
Cut
Yeah,
you
I was
off.
curious. Is it possible for a third party to create their own custom branded tog set?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've been approached by a lot of people trying to have us mint series already, and the game's not even out. Our theory on this, and also the community can make suggestions, but my personal theory is to keep it pretty exclusive in relation to the sets that we're creating. NFT.NYC, we will accept sponsorships for commissioning POGs. So if someone wants to be a part of that set, that's probably the best way to get involved. And then the other thing we're considering is actually for the game mechanics to allow certain allowed contracts to also play TOGs in the future. So like you could have 5 Bored Apes playing versus 5 Bored Apes for keepsies, right? Within the game mechanics could be a possibility of potential. If we go that route, like you really want to make sure we do a lot of audits on the smart contracts and make sure everything's secure because like that could be substantial risk. But like right now we're kind of like, well, we gave these things away for free. If you choose to play the game, like it's relatively early on, like beta, non-audited, well, semi-audited, like multiple developers looking at the contracts, right? But nothing like a third party audit, right? So yeah, that's some of where the idea of where our mind is going is like this could be actually a platform that connects and allows different people to play with their NFTs. And then there is another way we could do it, which is like we allow you to derive an NFT in a POG of your existing NFT, that you would then allow to play with that. So you're not playing for keepsies with the actual original. Could be another approach. So like these are just different mechanics and things to think about if you're doing NFT projects of like cool different ideas that we have. It also right now all our devs are doing this for free. And so I think there's that aspect of like, okay, in order to do some of the things we have to have some aspects of funding, or further funding to kind of execute on some of the potential. And that's why I don't like in the project we are very loose on quote unquote roadmap, if that's helpful to know.
Are all
But
TOGs
yeah, go
are all
ahead.
TOGs re-implementations of existing POAPs or NFTs, or are there unique designs?
No, they were unique designs created by artists through design contests that we host in Poapathon. And so like we commissioned, and then like Eaststaker and Grid Plus and Cheetah and a bunch of other protocols sponsored and commissioned the artwork. And we didn't even have plans for an NFT game. We were just making physical POGs originally. And then Superphiz came along and was like, "Did you ever hear of Austin Griffith's Cryptogs project?" And I was like, "No, tell me more." And I went to try and play it, and it didn't work. So it's like, well, let's vampire attack it and create a new version, as long as Austin is cool with that, right? And he was super supportive of us taking that approach. But hopping back, just because I want to make sure we're on schedule. The other thing I tried this week for the first time is we set up Snapshot with the TOGs. So we have voting, and there's actually a vote up right now with Snapshot to vote using your togs or your crypt togs. And you can vote. I got to fix the contract so the results show up soon. But at least you can vote still, even though you don't see the result. But there is an integration, and there's newer instructions recently on how to deliver a POAP via Snapshot. And a few different things that I learned, and I shared some of this feedback already with like Kevster and some others at Poe App, is you know, some of the directions needed a little bit correcting, but there's a Google form you have to fill out. And you fill out that Google form, and then you have your Poe App that you have with zero number created, and then they then take that and apply it to the Snapshot, and then there's a module you have to enable within Snapshot as well, in order to get that working. But it's a little bit of a mystery, I would say. So you add the module first, which is on the Snapshot side, really like low to no configuration, and then you copy the URL into the forms to then submit to Poe App that can associate a Poe App with the actual governance, and then people can go back and claim that Poe App at any time that had voted on that. And so that's a really good mechanic to like reward people for participation that that took their time out of their day to vote on something, even if it's fun and silly, which kind of is the take we're taking right now on Cryptogs. Is kind of like this fun, joking governance side of things. And I think that's something to consider when you're looking at, like, you know, a lot of people have NFT projects that are using POAPs, like different interesting mechanics and how you really like reward participation. So if you do have a Snapshot voting in your community, I'd really suggest checking that out because it's a great way to kind of reward people. And you don't have to give one out every time too. Like I tend to be the mentality in our community where it's like you don't get a POAP every time for everything we do something. You'd get exhausting and it'd kind of get overwhelming. They wouldn't be as unique or special. And so, you know, you get them when we kind of discretionarily decide, hey, yeah, this is a nice occasion, or a community member wants to make one. Is some of the philosophy there around how we distribute and choose to give out POAPs.
The Snapshot guys are looking into making a new documentation for this integration.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I did point out the Snapshot details were old. But that's part of, like, as you improve a product, right, then third parties information isn't always accurate, right? So kudos, Kevster, for running with that.
Yeah, thanks for pointing it out.
All right, awesome.
What's up next, Superphiz?
Yeah, well,
Mr. Mojo?
Yeah, actually, I was going to go ahead and transition to this Defi dude. I think it's time for your spotlight, man. What do you have to show us today?
Hey, I have some pretty awesome POAPs to show you guys. That's what I got. Let me pull it up here. I can't screen share, so as usual, I will be posting the screenshots in the community calls channel on the left-hand side. I do have a few to spotlight. So one I believe was talked about. I don't know if it was really shared, but it was the I Stand With Ukraine POAP. It was actually one I pulled from the newsletter that was previously shared during this call. And the second one I have is another one that I pulled from the newsletter. If I can find it, maybe not. I might have lost it. 2 seconds. Okay, it's yeah, from Topps. So Topps, the brand, you know, they make like baseball cards and all sorts of collectible stuff. They have a POAP for an NFT auction. Let's see. Post it there. So if you bid in one of their NFT auctions, you were given a POAP, very limited supply. I don't think there was a lot of bidders, but I thought it was cool. You know, another huge brand getting into POAP, which isn't really a surprise at this point, but really cool nonetheless. We did
Supply
have
of
some.
3 on that one.
Yeah, I saw supply 3, and then I think like the total possible supply was like 20, but I assume, yeah, I don't know if they just didn't claim it yet or if really it will be only 3, but um let me see another one. So we did have some for International Women's Day, which was yesterday, I believe, Tuesday. So saw some cool ones there. Just post 2 quick. This one, actually both of them, they didn't have any claims, or one had 1 claim. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but there was plenty of different International Women's Day POAPs if you want to go check some out. I did see a lot where there were a lot from POAPathon, I believe. So I don't know
Yeah,
if
we had and you can check out the live stream. It was like 7 hours long, but we had like timepieces, Time Magazine, just a ton of different celebrities and artists, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, and someone said the boob was awesome. I'm gonna. Yeah, this was created by a woman in the
Wait,
POAPathon community.
you mean
Yeah, what's
concentric?
up?
That design is called concentric circles.
Concentric boobs.
What? No.
I'm laughing.
I didn't know if you were gonna share something, but if I should continue. But yeah,
No,
that's
you can
awesome. I did
keep
see.
on going.
Okay,
Sorry.
yeah, I saw a bunch. No, you're good. But I did see a bunch. So yeah, if you want to check some out, I usually go to just the POAP app /admin events. So for anyone else that wants to, just scroll through, you can literally see almost every POAP that's, well, I think you can see every POAP that exists. So easy to find some cool ones or upcoming ones. Another one I wanted to spotlight quick is I wasn't a big fan, of the design. I think it's a little simple, but I'm bad at art anyway. But I just wanted to spotlight it because I do think it's really cool though that they're just like, it's one thing to reward people for voting on on-chain stuff and like governance and all that, because I think it is an issue, getting enough people to vote. And I think just having that POAP is just that one extra thing that like might push someone to, okay, let me dust off my ledger and vote in this proposal. So I think that's always cool. And I have one more, but none claimed. It was for a launch event in Decentraland, so I don't know. Maybe it was canceled. But I just want to spotlight that. I always think it's cool. Decentraland and other metaverse kind of like releases or meetups. Those are always fun, and enjoy those. So that's all for me, though.
Hey, one other thing I think is cool, and I think POAP.art is on a weekly basis, is we did for International Women's Day have a pixel party as well. And it was pretty cool to see the kind of outcome. I'll see if I can find it to post it. But these are always fun. I think POAP does them on a weekly basis. With POAP, is it POAP.art or POAP Sandbox or something cool like that?
I'm not sure if
I don't know,
they
maybe.
do they still do that on a weekly basis. I'm not entirely sure. I thought it was kind of on standby, but was hoping someone else might chime in.
I've seen some recently. I saw some get claimed not too long ago. Or actually, I saw attempts to claim it in a Discord, but I didn't see the actual distribution.
Superphiz, speaking of claiming, you actually made a guide about doing some Magic POAP QR dispensing. You want to talk about that, man?
Yeah. Yeah, I just before this, I had been talking to Tim from ChainSafe, and he wanted to share a POAP at his meetup, the Toronto Ethereum meetup. And so we collided. We weren't able to meet up, but instead I went ahead and recorded a speed run of setting up a POAP. And so it begins with going to poapathon.com, setting up a bounty to connect with a designer, and then selecting the design, and then from there going to app.poap.xyz/admin/events and creating an event there, uploading the art, and then using the Magic POAP QR dispenser to dispense those responsibly to a captive audience. That's not, it should be a captive audience, but to a closed audience. So yeah, so essentially, the goal with any POAP distribution is to make sure that each participant gets one code and not more than one code. And so the Magic QR dispenser, let me speak the URL out to you. You really just go there and upload your links as a POAP provider, and it is at qr.poap.tech, and you'll upload your list of claim codes of mint links, and then you'll receive. It'll show you a QR code, and every time someone scans that, it will provide a new claim code. It is considered a high standard of POAP distribution. So if you create a POAP and you include that you're using the QR dispenser, then you're much more likely to get that approved. It's great for like if you're doing a meetup, or if you have a personal POAP that you want to distribute, you can keep that link on your phone and pull it up whenever someone wants to scan it, and they will get a new link. So that video is on the ETH Staker YouTube, and I think I tweeted it from Superphiz as well. So it's a speed run, and I think it will. If you watch it, it'll be a great way to get onboarded.
Yeah, I think you did a great job. It's like a little over 17 minutes, I think, but it's 17 minutes well worth it. I went ahead, I posted a link in community calls as well for anybody that wanted to go and look at it. But okay,
cool, thank you.
Is there anything else that we wanted to talk about on the agenda, or do we want to do another Slido question?
Let's do a Slido question, and there is something else I wanted to hit after that, but go ahead.
All right, sure. So this is a little bit of an older question, but I do want to ask it. So this question says, is there, and this might be for the more people in POAP that are in this call right now, but is there any roadmap to prepare a built-in tool in the POAP app to automatically indicate the participation of a certain address? I'm not sure exactly what this is saying. I don't know if it's about people who send in curation, or if it's about the POAP website being able to track what POAPs belong to who. I'm guessing that the latter is not so possible, but I think talking about the former might be a little better. Is there any kind of system being made that sort of tracks the people that do put in requests to make a POAP that maybe allows people to more quickly get accepted? Is how I'm going to take this question.
Shall I answer this?
If you're able to, I would love it.
So we as curators, we get a lot of POAP petitions, and there is like, we know if someone is posting a lot of POAPs, we kind of know who they are, and like if they do good petitions or generally bad petitions, and if they have been doing like dozens of good petitions, they are kind of winning our trust, and then we're like, okay, this issuer is probably going to do another good job. But we don't really notice for everyone, as there is a very long list, obviously. But there are some issuers that we know better than others, and sometimes this influence our decision a bit. But we do try to like curate every petition on its own first, and then check if we know the issuer or not. Yeah, there's always exceptions, of course, but that's the gist of it.
Any plans to make a system that can maybe help track those names easier?
We can track the issuers.
Okay.
That's not an issue at the moment, but it's
an internal tool.
Yeah, it's cool. An internal tool for privacy.
We'll say that I witnessed the curation process. I'm sorry, Kev. Witnessed the curation process for the first time today, and I was amazed at how thorough it was and how much they looked into each application.
Awesome. So it's not just some like bot sending it through.
No. It's a human process, which I knew before, but I was amazed at like how much effort they put into it. For example, they would follow your website link and then go from there to look at your Twitter engagement or your Discord or how many members you have in your community, and seeing the type of engagement that there was. Whereas I thought that maybe you just looked at the Poe app and the description and the amount you're requesting, and that's kind of where it ended. But it's a lot more in depth than what I first imagined.
Yeah, and it's actually really reassuring to hear something like that, because I know that there's a lot of systems out there that are just run by a computer or some script, and you never really know what's going to slip through the cracks. But it is reassuring, though, that there is a person on the other end, and they're taking a look at everything to make sure that things that are inappropriate or maybe not shouldn't be through Poe App aren't necessarily getting through.
It definitely helps maintain Poe app's image and how highly regarded they are as just not a normal throwaway thing.
Right. But all right, Superphiz, would you like to go ahead with your last topic for the show?
I was going to say one of the keys for that is as a Poe App creator, you want to kind of cultivate your persona with the Poe App curators. And by that, what I mean is like you want to do good distributions so that when they run across something you're submitting, that they're like, oh yeah, Logic Beach has done 22 excellent drops. Like definitely, even if he's trying something that is a little new to us, he's somebody we trust and we know that we can that he's doing it right, as opposed to there was a guest last week. I don't want to say his name because I don't intend to tarnish him, but he tries new and radical things, and I love that. But with that comes, probably an increased level of review for any of his drops. And for him, that is his version of fun, and I think it's great. But if your intention is to get a lot of POAPs approved, then you want to make sure that you are like playing carefully by the rules.
I go through my back and forth moments of like, balancing and pushing the limits too. Like yesterday we had a 7-hour event, right? And it's like, well, how do we get people POAPs throughout the event and not just that we're there at one point in time? And like one of the things we found really unique is like, well, we actually mint like 3 to 5 different POAPs with lower volume amounts that give some diversity. So like you have a chance of getting different ones if you're there during that point in time. And we used Secret Word, which was super, like it worked very, very well. We told everyone ahead of time the word is coming, get your POAP app out. And it was live streamed on YouTube. And so I think being a little bit creative in some of the approaches there help to limit the aspects of like farming as well. It was a little bit harder trying to get the Pixel Party POAP out because like those ones you want to get out a little bit more liberal, I'd say, early on so people can paint. But yeah, you got to be thoughtful on this. So it's great.
Awesome. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. I think it's about time to wrap up. DeFi Dude, do you want to give instructions for the Degen bot claim?
Sure, I would love to. So to claim it, basically, as long as you were in this call listening, if you can hear my voice, chances are you can claim it. You want to go to the left-hand side, just below the channel community calls. It's called POAP-claim. That's the channel you're going to claim. It's a POAP-claim. So click that channel, and then inside of that channel, you want to type /claim or POAP, I believe. Space claim also works, but you can just type /claim, enter, and it should spit out a link. Go to the link, enter your address, and get your POAP.
I literally
I
just went
got
to the wrong
mine.
channel and did this. I'm so embarrassed.
Hey, while we're wrapping up too, we did put links for I put POAPathon and eStaker for Gitcoin grants. If you do have a chance to contribute not only to us but other projects originally, I think Poe App got a lot of funding from Gitcoin grants, and there's probably a lot of other people on here with great projects too that you might want to consider supporting as well.
And another trick about that is people are saying there is ever the possibility that ZK Sync will do an airdrop. I don't know if that's a reality or not. It's been a rumor for like a year now. But if you use Gitcoin and check out with ZK Sync, you may increase your odds of a potential ZK Sync airdrop. That's just it's been a long running rumor and it may never pan out, but it's just worth being aware of. Hey, Coltron. I did the claim and it didn't work out for me.
I got one, yo. So
when you type,
what does it say?
When you type / claim, does it like come up with commands that matches the bot?
It doesn't. I did it again and it worked. That's
Okay.
weird. The first time it didn't do anything. I guess the bot was sleeping.
Yeah, he does that.
So let's thank everybody for coming out today, and we do this every Wednesday at about the same time, and we hope that everyone had a positive experience.
Thanks, everyone.